You might be asking yourself, what is this mRNA vaccine and is it safe? Will it change my DNA? Will it chip me? Will it make me infertile, etc.? And I'm going to answer these questions for you. So, in my first two segments on vaccines, we talked about how a vaccine works, and we also talked about why this vaccine is safe and went through all the clinical trials and research that other vaccines have gone through. And after looking at those videos, which you can link to here or here somewhere, I'll put that card in there. Now let's talk about mRNA vaccines. First of all, the mRNA technology is kind of new, kind of old. And I say that because people and scientists have been experimenting with mRNA technology since the 1990s. So this is 3 decades old. Only now has it been put into place to make a medication because that technology and the knowledge of mRNA has been well established over decades. And we can finally make it a product because we know more about genes and how to make mRNA, et cetera. So first of all, it's new in that way, but it's old in that it's been around for a while. The mRNA vaccine produced by Pfizer and produced by Moderna basically put the code and the blueprint for the spike protein into your body to make your body's cell reproduce an artificial spike protein. Then that stimulates your body to make an antibody to go and attack the spike protein when you get a real infection from coronavirus. And how they do this is very clever. mRNA, the code and the sequence to make a spike protein is known. So they make an artificial string of mRNA. And by the way, it's very fragile. That's why they have to freeze it. Okay. That's important later when we talk about why it doesn't stay around in your body. So they make this artificial code, they package it, and they package it in a lipid capsule. The reason why they do that is because then it can stick to your cell and get inside your cell. They package that, it goes into your cell, and it releases the mRNA from the lipid capsule. That mRNA goes to these little factories inside your cell. And those factories are called ribosomes. And basically, they read the mRNA and produce an amino acid, and you get a few amino acids together. Then they form a protein. You get a few proteins together. They form a bigger protein. You get multiple proteins together. They form cells. Those are kind of the building blocks of life. And that's kind of like, think of it like little Lego pieces. So, anyways, when that mRNA comes into your cell, it gets transferred to the ribosomes, which is the factory in your cell that produces the spike protein. Then the spike protein comes out. Now, your antibodies are produced to respond to that. But let me talk about the cell. The cell, think about it this way. It's like a big ball, and inside is a nucleus. And that nucleus contains your DNA. That's right in here. That big cell, the space between that nucleus and the cell wall is called the cytoplasm. And that's where the mRNA kind of lives once it gets into your cell and it reproduces there. It actually never gets into the DNA area, which is the nucleus. So that's why when people say, oh, yeah, it's going to change your DNA, that's just not the way it works because it never touches your DNA. So, we can debunk that myth right there. So, in addition to what I just said, the mRNA, once it gets into your body, it degrades after it does its thing and makes sure ribosomes create spike protein. So that mRNA, just remember, it's really fragile. That's why we have to transport it at like sub-zero temperatures, -70 or so, -4 degrees, for either vaccine, or else it will degrade and it won't be good anymore. So you got to remember that these mRNA pieces inside your cell last about 24 hours or less, and they never get into your nucleus where your DNA lives. And so it just can't change things other than what it's intended to change, which is making your ribosomes and your cells machinery create an artificial spike protein. Now, the second thing is people are like, hey, you know what? They put this chip inside the vaccine, so you're going to get chipped. And they're going to, the government's going to know where you are and all that stuff. And I'm like, come on, you got to be kidding me. It just doesn't work that way. So for people who know the science, and now that I've explained to you the mRNA and how that works, there's no chip there. And if you're worried about that, get rid of your phone. Your phone actually locates you, knows where you are, listens to you. If you're on Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, any of those social media things, they track you. They figured you out better than you figure out yourself. So if you're worried about that stuff, get rid of your phone and get off social media, because that's the way that you're really being tracked.